What's up, everyone? We are back with another rundown show. We were off last week. I was actually on vacation, getting some sunshine, enjoying some spring break with the family. But Joe, I'll tell you what, you miss a week in this world and things turn upside down again. I feel like that's how we start every rundown show.
Right. Every time, well, not every time, you came back and you brought the market back. So thank you for that, Brian.
Yeah, I wish I could take credit for that. We're going to go over a few reasons why the market looks a little stronger than normal. And let's just jump right in there and get rolling and look at coin market cap. Currently, we got Big Daddy Bitcoin right around 88,000, Ethereum around 2,000, and Solana, kind of a pretty nice mover, up 18% over the last week at $146. You know, we've seen much stronger numbers, Joe, over the past, couple months, especially when Trump took office. But then we had that massive dump, a lot of fears with the Ukraine-Russia conflict, with the tariffs, just with a lot of volatility out there. But personally, I feel like we found that bottom. I mean, what we were like close to like 77, 75, right around that range. Bitcoin felt absurdly low, but we were sitting at a fear and greed meter at like 19 or 15, something like that. As low as it was whenever we had that FTX crash. And personally, that didn't make a lot of sense to me. What's your current idea of where we are right now?
Yeah, we'll get into it later in the macro, but I'm super bullish overall in terms of the American economy. And of course, crypto falls within that. I thought we were going to free fall into like the 50, 60s. I don't know if you remember, but I said there's no support level from 75 to like 60. Like I didn't see anything. So I thought we were headed straight down personally.
Yeah, and the stock market didn't look good either. I mean, just the entire financial markets were taking a hit, but we're sitting at like a 34th, the fear and greed meter. Feels about right. I am way more up in that green than where everyone is at the 34. But, if everyone wants to stay fearful for a few more weeks, a few more months, I feel like a lot of these projects are on sale. Flipping over, didn't really have this plan, but I want to see what the meme coin market's looking like. And look at this. A lot of the top meme coins are up double digits. I mean, bonk, man, 36% over the last week. SPX 6973, Fartcoin up close to 100%. We're going to talk more about that in our meme coin section, but a lot of these lower cap coins or the meme coins or the AI coins absolutely rocket up whenever we see the slightest bit of strength in the macro. And why that is, there's been some very interesting news out there. We got this guy giving us an ad. I don't know who that is, but the White House says gold reserves are going may be used to purchase Bitcoin. This is not confirmed, but I had to slip it in here because I think I said in one of our market updates, when there's smoke, there's obviously fire. And they're saying that a senior White House official has hinted the possibility of the United States utilizing gold reserves to acquire more Bitcoin. And that is, if that would happen, that's going to cause us to supercharge past through 100K in a heartbeat. In addition, we have the IMF, it's the International Monetary Fund, has been integrating Bitcoin into its global economic reporting. And Joe, that's big news because they've been kind of opposed to crypto and Bitcoin over the past few years. And there's even kind of a rumor floating around that they called Bitcoin digital gold at one point. And kind of digging a little bit deeper into that report, Bitcoin they never really called it a digital gold in the report, but they did make some very bullish statements. They talked about Bitcoin being a store of value. They talked about Bitcoin being able to transact with, and there's even talks about them adding it to their fund. So for the IMF being kind of anti-crypto, anti-Bitcoin at one point, now talking about, I think it was mentioned 5 to 7 times in the report. Those are some really bullish topics. Give me your thoughts. Are we going to be selling Fort Knox for Bitcoin?
I I don't think so. We need an audit first to see how much gold we have in there. And the reason I say that is because I believe in this administration has a clear-cut plan for crypto and Bitcoin. They're going to be very methodical with it, but I think they are just very business savvy. So whatever moves they're going to make, I don't think they even really put it in the forefront of mind. The stable coins is what they're trying to attack because that's going to save the US billions and billions of dollars. And then they're going to get to Bitcoin Reserve because they're faced with, hey, we have a $2 trillion deficit. They're like, the Bitcoin Reserve can wait. But the moment they put their attention to that, I think is going to be euphoric because you showed the meme coin overall market cap. And I don't think people realize that that small bump that we had on the upside this last little bull run that we had was just the OGs getting a feel and taste of some, profits, right? The when the regular Joe hits, 100 to $400,000 Bitcoin, we haven't seen those people come into the meme coin world yet. People came in through Trump, but did they really come in through, like the bonks like you showed or the far card? No, those were the trench warriors, right? But however, we are here at Crypto Mavericks, we are educating people about the meme coin sector, that there is other meme coins besides Trump and Melania, like Please. We love Please here. It's so funny. Every time I say it out loud and think of JD Vance's meme coin, if you guys don't know, JD Vance has a meme coin. I think it's gonna have legs, like you mentioned. I'm gonna get a small bag after this because I think it's gonna have some legs to run. So I definitely believe that certain meme coins gonna pop up. It's gonna be super exciting, and it's interesting to see which ones are popping up now versus before because before was very little competition. It was, five or 10 that everyone rolled into. And now to see, which ones are going to cycle up and stay up there, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you nailed it. There's definitely, we'll talk more about that in the meme coin section, but there's certainly just the cream rises to the top with some of these meme coins. And we'll talk about Fart Coin just absolutely started to rip. And I made a joke. It wasn't even a joke. I made a comment, I should say, but it feels like a joke that Fart Coin's the biggest indicator for a macro market move. When Fart Coin seems to dump, it dumps before all the macros. And then when it starts to rip, like it's done through the weekend, then all the majors seem to follow. So, I mean, long story short, hot air rises. Fart coin's pretty much going to be, what we're all transacting in 2050. I'm sure of it. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say one point is that the meme coin is very volatile, but it's volatile because you can make massive gains, right? Like if it's not volatile, like when Bitcoin is volatile is when you could have made the most money, and the retracements have been close to 90% from the top. So even though we don't like to say the bottom is in, the risk reward for a lot of these is, very, very, very looking very good.
Yeah, you nailed it. It's tough. It's always tough to buy the bottom and sell the top. I mean, if everybody was perfect at that, we'd have more money than God out there. It's tough to buy the bottom. It's tough to sell the top. But that's why everyone should just, we talk about within our community all the time. You want to take profits on the way up. You want a dollar cost average on the way down. And typically, some of the majors, some of the major meme coins, that's the best way to play it. And whenever everyone's scared, everyone's fearful, the obvious line everyone talks about, that is really the best time to be buying. Now, some other macro news out here is, I had to mention this, is that there's rumors the US will buy back Bitcoin sold by the Biden administration. As you can see here, multiple sources are reporting the US government has expanded its relationship with Coinbase, several other US exchanges for over-the-counter desks recently in preparation for a massive set of block trades to replace Bitcoins improperly sold by the Biden administration. Again, just bullish news after bullish news, and I don't feel like we should be that fearful right now, personally. And Tyler, who absolutely nails it all the time, has this great post here that 50%, 57% of US financial advisors plan to add crypto ETFs allocations in 2025. So I know a lot of buddies that are in the financial markets. They've laughed at me in the past whenever I've brought up Bitcoin. And we're talking about the gold standard of crypto here, not, fart coin or anything. I understand why they could be skeptical on some meme coins because they can be very volatile. But now we're seeing over 50% of financial advisors are looking to add cryptocurrencies, these ETFs, into their customers' portfolios. We've seen over the past few days quite a bit of positive inflows, especially into the Bitcoin ETFs. And I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, we need a financial analyst in the TradFi world to give us a sneak peek of what has translated over into the world of DeFi. And the reason I say that is because Ethereum ETF staking is something that's going through approval right now with the CBOE. That's going to present, more yields for the retail user. And I'm just curious how many more DeFi mechanisms, retail users can benefit from as they, come over that's not available to them in the traditional world. So definitely good to see a lot of people interested in the crypto ETFs. I hold some crypto ETFs. I'm sure you do also, and to have potential to utilize that to stake and yield and maybe potentially get even deeper than that. That'd be very exciting.
Yeah, yeah, you better believe I own some Bitcoin ETFs. I full ported my 401k into it months and months ago, and it felt. And I've talked about this in the past, where it does feel like a lot of these major uber wealthy people or people that aren't savvy in the crypto world, it's a lot easier to call your broker to get access to Bitcoin through an ETF, instead of setting up a hardware wallet or utilizing Coinbase. It's just a lot easier to buy your FBTC, and then you don't have to worry about a lot of the concerns, security concerns, holding private keys, anything along those lines. And that's a big reason why I was anxious for it as well. And I'm very competent with handling multiple wallets and how to use exchanges and how to use Gemini and Coinbase and Robinhood. But there was just something, a sense of security to just, hey, I'm just going to do this like I did any other stock trade. Some other reasons why we've seen a pretty positive shakeup in the crypto market, and it was a reason we've seen a dump as well. And Trump plans to has really been shaking up the entire macro market with this tariff talks, and now it's been seeing. There's been a lot of talk out there that he's looking to postpone some of these tariffs that were set for April the 2nd, and the market loved that, and it's becoming. I want you to talk a little bit more about that all in podcast at the end of this segment, but it definitely seems like initially over the past few weeks, the overall market sentiment was that we got this wild man in the administration just firing at the hip. We're giving you a 25% tariff. We're giving you a 25% tariff. You're fired. You're fired. Almost felt like he was just shooting at the hip left and right. But now the more people, and you're talking about the All In podcast, a lot of these cabinet members that have been talking, it's now becoming more clear that they overall have a plan and they're executing it the way they want it. And it's making me even more bullish. And I get bulled up. And that's why we shouldn't be sitting at a 34 fear meter. And there's been even more bullish news out there. I'm gonna fire through this so we can talk about that all in podcast. Is that the Oklahoma House passes a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and it was voted 77 to 15. So what we have, Oklahoma, we got Texas, we got some other states out there that are gonna add Bitcoin to the reserves. Absolutely crazy stuff. And then I'm going to just share another tweet by our boy Tyler here that tokenized real world assets, RWAs, crossed 10 billion TVL this weekend for the first time. And this really goes to what Van Eck has been preaching. What they were saying, like 50 billion to be tokenized on chain in 2025, and that almost seemed like a crazy number. But the now we're at 10 billion. It doesn't seem crazy at all. We kind of I shot a lot at you there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, great stuff because, RWAs, a lot of people don't understand them. And definitely it's going to move so quickly. I just had an interview with Say Networks and I had a question for them about this. Like, the traditional person like me and you investing, like how can we really benefit off of RWAs, which is, like Coinbase bringing their ticker coin on chain. That's like a RWA. People don't realize that. And just stablecoins RWs, people don't realize that stablecoins coming on and how quickly that can derail what's already, out there in the marketplace, or disrupt is the better word. And one clear example I asked them is, like the Japanese, for example, they notoriously hold 50% of the money in cash because the Japanese stock market sucked for like what decades, right? Like when things come on chain, if they come on chain, if there's a Japanese stable coin and you can immediately swap to a US stable coin, why wouldn't you do that? Why would you not do that? Their yen's being devalued by the day. And what kind of ripple effects will we feel through the globe if and when this happens? So, that's going to be very interesting. There was a tweet, or I say tweet still, up the Bitcoin, meetings in Japan, and there's like lines out the door because everyone's trying to get in and learn about this because they're starting to perk up. Like, hey, they're starting to understand a little bit about finance. Like, and DeFi is just a whole nother world. So I'm like, what's the gap there? How do we get there? And I think we went into a little about AI agents, which we'll talk about later, also how that can really mitigate a lot of risk and understanding of all these complex things that we talk about, which is blockchain and whatnot. In the future, someone's like, "Hey, I have a lot of Japanese yen. Where's the best place to hold this and get you?" They'll be like, "All right, here you go," and that's what's going to happen. And I feel like that's going to be fairly soon because in crypto, it's a lot faster to do that, right, than traditional finance. It takes a lot longer because of regulations to do that. So, but it's just a matter of time because if you're so much you can gain, why would I get 3-4% on a SoFi bank or whatever bank when you can just get so much yield off of DeFi? And we talk about that in our private community. I'm getting like I messaged you like yesterday, bro. I was like, I'm getting 6% a week on a stable coin. Like, why would I put that in a checking account? Like, I don't understand. So, anyways, if the IRS is listening, I am paying my taxes. But before I jump into the All In podcast, any feedback on what all my feedback?
Yeah, you're killing it with the stablecoin moves, and anybody that's interested in learning more about that, you gotta join the private community because Joe's educating me every single day, and it really makes me think like how to leverage and utilize these massive yields on stablecoins. I'm like this like my stablecoin's Bitcoin, but that's not stable every day at all. But Joe's really opened my eyes up to some awesome ways to just utilize these different platforms. So definitely check that out. And I do want to make a couple call outs. We're talking about things going on chain. We had like Coinbase that's talking about they're going to put their stock, and that's one of the only independent stocks that I own is the coin stock, and I think that's extremely bullish. We have Fidelity. They're talking about they're going to prepare and tokenize its U.S. Treasury fund on Ethereum and put that all on chain. And then just going back to like some other stocks I own, I'm not a big stock trader. That's not my wheelhouse because I'm probably so immersed in the crypto market. Joe, you're a lot savvier in that world than I am, but I did make my first stock purchase that I have in a long time was the Tesla stock, and nothing. This is nothing to do with politics at all. I can't express that more. Like I'm so moderate and middle. But when I saw that video of Tim Waltz on stage, like talking crap about Elon Musk, and every time I look at my phone and see Tesla stock going down, and he was like bragging about it. And then, it's like the Minnesota has a whole bunch of that Tesla stock in its pension, and that's kind of came back to bite him. But when I saw that and the price is going down, and then all these coordinated attacks against Tesla, I was like, this feels just like a perfect buying opportunity. So I would like to make an announcement. I did buy my first handful of shares, quite a bit of, not quite a bit, but a decent amount of Tesla I feel like I bottom ticked that sucker. So I appreciate Tim Waltz fudding us because I was sitting there. I'm like, I don't know. You own a Tesla, I think, but I've ridden quite a few Teslas. It's such a great car. If I was getting a car for a 16-year-old, the safety, the speed from a advantage standpoint, just the security of it, it would be, and then the prices. I think I saw you can lease one for like $300 a month,
Yeah.
and it's a U.S. car. It just made so much sense to me. So, and I think it made a lot of sense to a lot of people because we've seen a big rebound in stocks, and Tesla had its biggest day yesterday, up 12%. So shout out to Tim on fudding it on stage because it gave me my first entry into Tesla. And Joe, I know you've been kind of dollar cost averaging in that for a long time.
Yeah, I'm wearing a Tesla shirt. And yeah, like you said, Tesla, it went down so much. I was like, "Oh, this is amazing." I mean, dollar cost averaging, and then I went to a park with my son this last weekend, and I never park on the street here in the East Bay. East Bay is kind of ghetto, for those who don't know, in the Bay Area. Okay, okay, certain parts. If anyone listening in East Bay, there's the number one school in America is there, UC Berkeley, so I can't say anything bad about that. Anyways, long story short, I thought I got a ticket. But what was on my dash was like a hate message for
Oh, it
Tesla. But it
was?
was like it was copy pasted, and they had a QR code there, and the in bright red letters says "Sell your Tesla now before all this negativity happens." And I scanned the QR code, and it goes to a "Sell your Tesla." Landing page, how to sell it quickly. I'm like, dude, people, this is just an advertisement to get you to sell your Tesla because they want to make money. And they're so, I mean, they're smart. They're feeding off people's fear, especially in the Bay, because I kid you not, one out of every three cars here in the Bay is a Tesla. So yeah, just to give you some insight into to my, I was never scared for my life. I was like, oh, it's not a ticket, amazing. I was never going to sell my Tesla. In fact, I want another one because it's so fast and it's so much cheaper. So yeah, but on that note, and kind of what Elon is doing, and I just want to give some insight to, I want to say Alpha, but I've been listening to this podcast. It's called the All In Podcast for about close to 3 years now. And the reason I want to highlight it and what it has to do with crypto is a lot of things, right? So this is the first time personally I've ever listened to Congress members, or cabinet members, a secret, a Treasury, a secret, dude, Scott Bessent, who's the secretary, the Treasury Secretary. I'm sorry, I keep on getting mixed up. With an hour and 13 minutes unfiltered interview with him, I would like to say unbiased, maybe a little bit. So recently, Howard Lutnick is just Commerce Secretary who helped Trump to appoint his cabinet. Full hour and a half. You can see my timestamps here. I listened to all of this. And then David Sachs, Crypto Star. I'm halfway through this. And for those of you who don't know who what All In Podcast is, they started off as a bunch of four billionaire friends who wanted to do a podcast because they're probably just rich and nothing else to do, right? No, they're Silicon Valley folks. They invested in Uber and Cloudflare and Google. And in the early stages, these guys are Silicon Valley VC fund individuals. You know, um, Shamav famously is a ex Facebook executive. So they're not like, uneducated folks, right? They know what they're talking about, and they all swung left. They're all Democratic. They're all from California. In the last 3 years, they weren't very political. They just talk about investments. But they started like getting politics involved, and they had Donald Trump on an interview, and then they started just getting more into the weeds of politics because it kind of blends with businesses. So what happened in Silicon Valley, for those who don't know, and more largely crypto, is choke point 2.0, which is basically debanking anyone who does crypto. Whoever doesn't know, Biden and his administration attacked crypto head on, right? Everyone got sued. Everyone got sued. And with this new cabinet, that's not happening anymore. Similarly to crypto, Silicon Valley had basically a choke on them, not in terms of debanking, but in terms of going public. Every big merger and acquisition got blocked through the previous administration. And what's happening right now is that, there's more clarity with regulation, which is why you see right now Google has just made their biggest purchase. Google purchased Wiz for I think $32 billion. This is basically they're saying that's like the starting gun for Silicon Valley to start taking off again because they're all held back previously. And the reason I'm bringing those examples up in terms of choke point 2.0 and then also Silicon Valley not being able to do a lot of IPOs, and that's why we haven't seen a lot of IPOs, is because there's clarity now and regulations. Like Trump has a clear plan, and not only Trump, his team, like Scott Bessent, Howard Lutnick, Elon Musk, they're all like different levers that they're pulling to get, America to where they want. And ultimately, that's just to cut debt, cut debt, cut over regulation, increase GDP, increase domestic spend. And I'm not going to get into the intricacies of it because you can listen to 5 hours of information there and make your own judgment. But with these tariffs, with all these plans, there ultimately could be a no cap, no income tax rate, believe it or not. But for all of that to happen, we need Elon to cut spend. We need GDP to go up, and which is what Howard Lutnick's in charge of. And then we need inflation to really not calm down, but we need all these parties to align. And then if that happens, then you can really offset income taxes, and because we have all this income coming in from the tariffs. So, and I said a lot there, but it's just very interesting because this makes me overall bullish on crypto, overall bullish on the U.S. economy, and how crypto is so closely tied with the U.S. economy now versus before what it was. That's why I'm very bullish on cryptos because of where we're going with the team that we have. And when you hear these interviews and from the parties, it's not just Elon. There's like 20 people behind him. And there's all these people who's working for the interests of America. So pro America, man.
Dude, you nailed it, Joe. And that you sent me the Scott Bissett all in podcast when I was on vacation. I caught most of it. And I think I mentioned it earlier in this in our rundown here that it opened up my eyes that there's an actual plan in a strong plan. And obviously, we don't need to know the integral details of what the plan is because people need to be strategic there. But it made me just listening to it for like an hour, it made me extremely bullish on where we're headed on the US economy. And this isn't in anything political because a lot of people are like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Like I am so independent in a lot of views, but I am very bullish in the direction we're going. I do think like Doge, and if we're cutting costs and saving money in a lot of areas, and that could reflect into less to possibly zero income tax, sign me up. That's going to make a lot of people happier, a lot of people more financially flexible. And it's just, I don't know, it just seems great that we have a plan at the end of the day. And I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, and Howard Lutnick, which is like the puppet master, he's the one that named Doge. So everyone thinks Elon
Oh,
Musk
he
named Doge,
did?
but he named it Doge so that he could recruit Elon. Like he worked, and he's the one who recruited David Sachs. Like he went on like a few month recruiting spree to get to urge David Sachs to join, the committee. So if you watch the interview, it's very well planned what the plan is. And once we get to a certain point, there a lot of these proclamations from Trump, it can't happen. It can't be real. It can be realized, and the U.S. economy it can and should come out on top. And they ask hard questions like. A lot of the tariff push is to grow things domestically, but for to us to manufacture things domestically, some of it might take 3, 4, 5 years for us to get there. So it really is a long-term plan. But the 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 whole sentiment around it is that wow, the people there are really excited to work with the people there. Like everyone is super smart, super sharp, and they all want to get, excuse me for saying this, but they all want to get shit done because they're super rich. They don't need any more money. This is like their legacy. This is what they're here for, and they have an all-star rock team. So they're like, damn, we need to do this now. So, and that's kind of like the sentiment that that's going around there. So it's super exciting.
Yeah, it's massively exciting. And it does feel like over just the past few months, this administration's gotten more done than we've seen over the past few years. So, I'm excited for greener pastures ahead.
Yep. Now to get into non-serious though. Now let's talk about something that we trade and live in on a daily basis, which is the meme coin sector. We got to take a look at what's happening over there. And I think a lot of us saw this. I saw this when Brian told me the morning routine looks good. I thought he was talking about his morning routine because I saw this on I forgot it was on Instagram or TikTok. I saw it and I was like, oh, this is cool. But I didn't put two and two together that Brian was saying the meme coin called morning routine is hot. I just thought he meant like, oh, his morning routine's looking good, crypto's looking good. But for everyone didn't see this, take a look. It's basically this guy from like 3 a.m. to like 9 a.m. doing his morning routines. Some people call it ridiculous, but some people, anyways, it took on a life of its own, and the meme coin absolutely rocketed. It took off, right? What did it reach? Had a large correction,
Yeah,
but it reached
meme coin style correction, right?
yeah, but it reached a 20 million market cap actually for like 4 days before it came down. So it's doing pretty well. So that's something that really caught people's attention. You got in on this, right? Right, Brian?
I, I did. I thought about sending it as an alert, but I'm glad I didn't because I was kind of traveling and I didn't get to it very early. I actually don't think I did great on it. I still have a bag, so I'm probably down overall. But I guess the biggest takeaway for me is that there's still opportunities for new meme coins to run. It's not those 5, 8, 10 meme coins that run to 100 million in one day and then instantly dump, or the LA vape cabal is, pumping and dumping. This was truthfully like one of the more organic meme coins, kind of like Please. This morning routine, it was had like as of yesterday, like 633 million views on TikTok or something, and it ran hard. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities in the meme coin world. I do think that I've been kind of thinking about with our private community and how I could frame it for our upcoming newsletter, but I do think a lot of like the blue chip meme coins out there are kind of where I want to be right now, but still allocate, a small amount of Ethereum or Sol to these runners, these possibly weekly runners. But it just feels like less murky, less cloudy, less BS out there. But this morning routine, Ashton Hall's the guy's name. Joe, I don't know if I told you this, but one of his morning routines or one of his routines is taping his mouth at night. I've been doing that for over 4 years. I tape my mouth and shut at night. No joke. I use like 3M medical tape. and it's helped me a ton from like not having
Nice.
dry mouth, and I sleep so sound. That is not an endorsement for anybody listening to this to tape their mouth at night, but I saw that and it made me chuckle. I guess the biggest takeaway is that the meme coin or the trenches are starting to lighten up a little bit, and we've seen some very interesting coins, some of our favorites pop off as well.
Yeah, earlier we talked about how meme coins have drawn down close to 90%. And that's I on record saying this that I wanted to enter some of these when they hit a 90% drawdown, which happened this last week. This last week, just last week, the last 7 days is when some of these hit like the bottom, in my opinion. And the risk reward was just there for me. Like, could it go down? Sure. But the ones that I believed in, those ones that I knew would come back, like Bonk, for example, I was on record saying, hey, I like Bonk here. But Fartcoin came up 136%. I know Unicorn Fart Dust came out close to 100% recently also. And a lot, as you guys saw, a lot of other meme coins came back to life. So there is a lot of life coming back into the markets. Like you mentioned, the new ones like Morning Routine and also Fartcoin and whatever else may come and take the throne. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too. And I think that's Farcoin reminds me a lot of Pepe. Kind of Pepe, I mean, it's been a couple years now, but when Pepe first, absolutely ripped, then it absolutely crashed, and then it just slowly grinded up to a what $3 billion market cap. It made all-time highs to $9 billion. So these are obviously meme coins, and they can be extremely volatile. And everybody needs to realize that. But when there's major drawbacks, drawdowns, and they actually have, I think, tens of thousands, close to hundreds of thousands of holders, some of these will absolutely continue to rise. And when we get back into that true bull market with the macros, coins like Fartcoin, I feel like are just clear winners.
Absolutely. And not only meme coins, we talk a lot about platforms and how you can farm and yield and do well. Polymarket's Market's one of those. There's one on Abstract that we talk about of our private community called Myriad that is coming out of a coin. Thanks for Brian for telling me that. Now I'm more active on there. But Polymarket Market now is expanding to Solana and accepting Solana deposits, which is good news. Prediction markets getting big. Robinhood just announced they're doing college sports predictions. So prediction markets is like the way to go now. So that's exciting to see. And here's something that Brian talked about, which is life coming back and things starting to come up again. Pumped Out Fund hits $454 million in trading volume, and they were like sub 100 million, right? Like not too long
Yeah.
ago. Yeah, but bam, they're back. They're back and at it. And what's interesting here is that not only they added, they're expanding into liquidity pools. So they want to be their own liquidity pool provider. I'm not going to get into details, but it's called Pump Swap. And so, they're going to take away from Radium. So Radium's like, you know what? You're not going to use us. We're going to launch our own pump fund. They call it Launch Labs. So, they're just trying to cut the bleeding, and the fees here are nominal in terms of, the retail benefits. But some people think Radium's going to win because there's millions and there's more supposedly a volume on Radium than on pump fund. I don't know. I just buy memes after they bonded. So I'm not much in the pump fund radium world, although I do know some people who are farming radium. But what they tell me is that the people who's farming on there has been doing it for so long that it's not really worth it anymore because it's you have to get that in that game in the beginning. I'm not sure if you heard the same.
No, that's a good call. I mean, I know a lot of people. I mean, I've gone down my fair share of buying coins before they've bonded, and that's I've kind of flushed that out of my system because it's literally just that's the lottery within a lottery. But it's interesting. I'm excited to see who's going to win that battle between Pump Fun and Radium. Obviously, like some of the recent moves have hurt Radium, but now they're launching their launch pad, and I could definitely see them coming out on top. It's something we'll keep a close eye on and obviously update our community. And so why don't we jump over and talk a little bit about the AI crypto world? And everybody knows I'm a pretty big fan of what's happening in the AI crypto world. And we were down. I think our last rundown, we were under a $4 billion market cap. Again, this is nowhere near like the all-time highs when we were all euphoric and thought there was going to be a robot cooking us dinner. But the AI crypto world isn't going anywhere. You can see when the market shows some positive legs, now we're up to a $7 billion market cap. Some of these coins are getting some interesting valuations. And even AI16Z made a major announcement today. It's up 4% about what they're building and what they're going after. Virtuals have been doing well. FET. A lot of green here within the market cap in the last 24 hours. Mindshare, Farcoin was massively green yesterday in Mindshare, so I'm not surprised to see it down a little bit in Mindshare. And Wayfinder is as well. And if you're in our private community, you know how much I love Prime, staking or caching Prime for their native token prompt, which will be earned and given and used as collateral for Wayfinder. I'm actually in their beta version of it, and I've been experimenting with the Wayfinder agents, and I love it. So I don't think this AI crypto space is going anywhere anytime soon. So really excited to see how it develops. And a lot of the ones that we like, AI16s, AIXBT, the bankers, they're all popping up here. But the most notable, Joe, is that we're at a $7 billion market cap. We've rebounded nicely, and probably the big daddy AI coin out there, Fartcoin, because that's kind of where it was derived from, is the one that made the biggest move in the graphanes, and there's just a lot. And I'm very interested to see how this Wayfinder drop that's connected to the prompt token. That's going to be released next week, probably during our rundown show. So I'm excited to see if that's going to be a catalyst in this AI crypto market. But again, it's we talked about earlier in the show about DeFi and how it can be overwhelming and how to integrate. And that's all going to be integrated utilizing these AI agents. It's just who's going to be the winner. We're so early on in this space, and there's going to be a lot of hot potato between platforms, between agents. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be a hot sector as we continue to grow.
100%. I think as AI sector matures and more features and actual utility, it's going to be the most memeable. There's going to be the spotlight. The attention there is right now. That's why it's holding multiple billions of market cap. But it's only going to get better, and there's only going to be more use cases showed. And it correlates to NFTs quite well because right now NFT market, Ethereum is doing well. Some of them, Pudgy notably leading the pack. CryptoPunks had major sales, close to 10 pucks sold because they hold the de facto number one spot of being the I want to say the face of the NFTs, but they're the most OG. People love them the best. And the way I see NFTs is similar to what you said about AI. Is just I'm sorry, I reverse. If when which ones are the most memeable, which ones are making the most noise, and how do I want to correlate this is showing the Bitcoin NFTs. Like Bitcoin ordinals popped off when the time where Ethereum NFTs were kind of not dying, but they were like quiet, right? It was like the bear, and this was just a new bright and shiny toy, which is Bitcoin ordinals. And trust me, there's actual use case for Bitcoin NFTs. They're immutable. It's you cannot deny that. But they haven't done a lot of memeable things, right? They haven't, there's no memes out of them. The one leading the meme pack is Pudgy Penguins. And even out of Ethereum, not like Bored Apes hasn't done much. Doodles is launching token, but what have they've done? McDonald's collaboration. There just needs to be more done. There needs to be more attention there. And the same with so that's how I kind of feel about Abstract too. Like Abstract is pumping recently is because people are farming it for the Abstract token airdrop. I see the attention dropping from this once that happens, unless they build community, which I think Pudgy's is a little bit better than others because they're consumer focused or more about that, than other projects. So that's kind of how I see these chains. So what I do see is, and how I bring AI into this is that I think every one of these should and will integrate AI, kind of like how Prime's gonna or not going, they are integrated, a Wayfinder AI into their project. So I see AI sector popping off when everything has AI integrated, and also with actual use cases of things happening, whether it be trading RWAs or entities within each other or gameplay or whatnot. That's how I'm going to see attention alongside memes with these NFT projects because there's blips of ups and downs, but to really have it come back into like full force, one we need a bull case overall for Bitcoin and everything, and then two we need to see more use cases besides just a meme culture because a lot of people are migrating, at least in my circles, to smaller communities, not 10,000, so that they can have like a voice or whatnot. So like sub 1,000, sub 300. And that's kind of abstract is like that too. They have like, not because they wanted to, but because they couldn't sell 10,000. So they had to cut out a supply, which may or may not work out as more and more people come on board.
Yeah, great breakdown there, Joe. And I'm becoming more and more interested in. I love NFTs. I think they're awesome. I think the communities are awesome. I think they have the ability to run hard. I think it was Hester Pierce just recently kind of called out that Fly Fish Club and certain NFTs like that are going to be protected from securities law, just like we've heard from meme coins earlier in the year. So that'll be a nice catalyst for NFTs. And I do believe that a lot of companies and corporations are going to utilize them in rewards programs and building communities. It's an absolute no-brainer to me. Pudgy Penguins is absolutely one of the gold standards. We saw some major punk sales over the past couple days. Like we saw an alien punk, like the dildo head alien punk sell for like $850,000, 420 Ethereum. And that was a profit for the seller. So congratulations on both ends there. The real question is, Joe, when we buying Pudgy Penguins, man? What are we doing here? We need our Pudgies.
Yeah, I definitely would have bought a Pudgy by now if I did not already put it on to Pengu. And Pengu actually popped higher than Pudgy's, which is actually the right move because there's more liquidity there and it just moved
I
faster.
like that.
But something bullish. Unfortunately, that move was from the bottom tick, not from when I bought it. But don't worry, I'm not worried about it so much. Some bullish news here is Canary Capital manages a lot of money. They proposed the first NFT-backed ETF alongside Pengu. So they're going to hold meme tokens, but they're also going to hold NFTs, which is the first of its kind. And they say it's because they believe Pudgy is the face of NFTs for crypto at large. So definitely, I do want to buy a Pudgy Penguin. So should I do good within these next few months with my farms? I will definitely buy one on live stream, like you mentioned. But I have to move some things around, so I can't just straight fire it off the bat. I need to convert because who wants to hold your Ethereum, right? It's on your Ethereum. Your Ethereum's like a stable coin. If you compare it for the last 5 years, at this point in the last 5 years, it's the same price point. So in order for me to buy a Pudgy, I need to get Ethereum, and then I need to do some conversions for that.
Yeah, I love the Pudgy Penguins. I need to move some things around as well and kind of get on the same page with you. And then those Sam Spratt masks, those NFTs. I don't know if we had a rundown since that NFT dropped. Connected to Nifty Gateway. Shout out to Nifty Gateway for having an epic NFT drop. But those masks, I love. I think Sam Spratt's like up there with one of the best NFT artists out there, and I want one of those as well. So there's definitely interest back in NFTs. I'm a big fan of the on-chain heroes and utilizing it. And you nailed that. I'm utilizing it to farm for the abstract token, but also love what they're bringing out. There's Critter Quest out there that's been doing pretty well, and that's on the Solana blockchain. And Beanie's been talking a lot about it with the NFTs. So the right NFT projects with the right vision, the right plan, we say it all the time, absolutely would continue to pop off. And once we get these macros, once we get Bitcoin over $100,000 again, I'm not sure when that's going to happen. I think we're going to see a major push in a lot of these meme coins, a lot of people back into NFTs. We're going to be back into that next NFT cycle. But we need our pudgies before that happens. When's the abstract token? When's the rumor that that could drop? Because we need pudgies before that token, right? I mean,
Yeah, the pledges will get you a multiplier for abstract, but I don't know if it gets you. Yeah, it'll get you like they said 2 to 1. That's what Lucas says. They said at the TGE event, pledges will eat 2 to 1. So whatever that means, ambiguous. Take it for what it is. If you want to get a pudgy, maybe afterwards. People might be dumping it. Yeah, after
that's
that typically happens with the meme token. So it may happen for the entities also.
And that's not going to be the only catalyst for them to go up. I mean, that guy's been cooking since day one. So that actually, I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit. And we can talk about with our private community, but that might be the play is to wait for the abstract drop, have it, the price will obviously correct and crash because people are gonna be selling it immediately after they get their multiplier. But they're not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, I mean, we both have like stuffed pudgy penguins in our backgrounds, and mine wasn't even bought because it was a pudgy penguin. It's because my son was at Walmart with my wife one day, saw a cute pudgy penguin. My wife bought it, and I was like, "Do you know what this is?" And they were looking at me like I had three heads. I was like, "It's a pudgy penguin plushie," and they were like, "Yeah, great." Like we bought it because it's cute, so I kind of took it from them and put it in my background because I like it so much. But I don't know. I'm bullish. It's definitely a lot more fun to do these rundowns with you, Joe, whenever the market's starting to turn green because it was looking ugly there for a few weeks and the news was bullish, but it wasn't moving the price at all. So it feels like, greener pastures are definitely ahead.
Yeah, the blood is where you make a lot of money. So if you had, a strategy going in, which we talk about with everyone, then you should be coming out, better than before. Most people shouldn't feel too upset about these cycles, unless it's your first one. Then you had no idea because this is your first time in crypto. But crypto is very cyclical, and this just happens all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely check us out, our private community. We do podcasts, we do market updates, we do this rundown show every single week. As always, Joe, it's great chopping it up with you.
Yep. See you guys next week.